Welcome again to the Politics podcast. Geopolitical Queen here with today's episode on how ECOWAS is being used by foreign agents to destroy West Africa. The Economic Community of West African States, also known as ECOWAS, is a regional, political, and economic union of 15 countries in West Africa. It was founded on May 28, 1975, with a mission to promote economic integration across the region. Undoubtedly, it can be agreed that coup d'etats are sedition, treason, and anti-state. They are illegal and untenable under the ECOWAS General Treaty. But does the ECOWAS community have a mandate to intervene militarily in a sovereign country like Niger to restore the constitutional order that has been suspended by a military coup? Is military intervention to undo a coup not a violation of a nation's sovereignty? For the records, all coups in Africa were orchestrated by the CIA. They were supposed to be the best form of Western policing and punishing African leaders. They were supposed to be great, but now the Africans themselves are fighting their rights through coups. They are supposed to be unacceptable. Well, this time around, there is a new game in town, and the actors are the oppressed ones this time. To take you back to the memory lane, after a presidential election in Côte d'Ivoire in April 2011, to which the then President Babou declared himself the winner, France, the former colonial master, who did not agree to that because he had his own man, Alassane Ouattara, to be the next president, sent some French troops who struck the then elected and sitting President Babou's presidential palace in Abidjan from the air to provide crucial support for the United Nations peacekeepers to bomb the presidential palace, which will then allow them to drag out the president. Issad Soumarou, a pro-Ouattara fighter at the scene, told Associated Press, and I quote, "We attacked and broke into a part of the bunker. He was there with his wife and son. He wasn't hurt, but he was tired and his cheek was swollen from where a soldier had slapped him." President Babou was dragged out of the presidential palace, bundled onto a waiting plane, and dispatched to jail in The Hague in the Netherlands. 4 years later, he was released from that prison with no charges. The ECOWAS community and the African Union saw nothing, heard nothing, and said nothing, although Côte d'Ivoire was also an ECOWAS country. Most importantly, the ECOWAS community didn't give France a one-week ultimatum to reinstate the elected president, but accepted France's choice of the puppet president which France imposed on Ivorians. Then in October 2011, NATO, led by the US, yes, the same United States, the funny mother of all human rights and democracy, decided that Gaddafi had to leave the scene because he was becoming too strong in his quest for a stronger African continent. This was Hillary Clinton on the death of another human being. Take a listen.
So, I mean, that is the land of unconfirmed.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
Did it have anything to do with your visit?
No, I'm sure it did.
The killing of Muammar Gaddafi took place on 20th October 2011 at the Battle of Sirte after his convoys were attacked by NATO aircraft as part of the 2011 NATO military intervention in Libya. Colonel Gaddafi's lifeless body was thrown into a supermarket freezer for his people to celebrate and jubilate on his dead body. If this act was not dehumanizing enough and a violation of international law, then what else could be considered as a violation of human rights? Here too, the African Union saw nothing, heard nothing, and said nothing, although Libya was also an African country. Then came the kidnapping of almost 300 innocent schoolgirls in December 2020 in Nigeria by the junta group known as Boko Haram. This Boko Haram group is the African version of ISIS, which was created by the US and NATO after they attacked Iraq to fight the Iraqi and Iranian soldiers on their behalf. Ironically, the headquarters of this Boko Haram is in Nigeria. But, interestingly, the same Nigeria that is now leading the ECOWAS to go and fight a neighboring country wasn't able to invite the ECOWAS military to get rid of Boko Haram in Nigeria by giving them any ultimatums. Fast forward to July 2023, and there is a coup in Niger, and we have the ECOWAS community outraged and shamelessly issuing Niger a one-week ultimatum to restore the ousted president, lest they send in the ECOWAS military to reinstate the ousted president. The toothless African Union also doubled down with a 15-day ultimatum to Niger. How did we get here? Brothers fighting brothers because of the interest of a foreign country? How can Nigeria, a fellow neighboring African country, cease supplying electricity to Niger as punishment so that France can get free uranium to light their Eiffel Tower? Did any European country go to war when the US organized the Maidan coup in Ukraine in 2012? If ECOWAS insists on good governance, by all means, they can do so. But shouldn't it be applicable to all? When will the ECOWAS military march into Nigeria or Ghana, for example, to remove a corrupt leader or a coup maker? Indeed, some African leaders sometimes make it painful for some to be proud Africans. As Peter Tosh famously said, everybody is crying out for peace, but none is crying out for justice. Where is the justice here? Justice, where art thou? If the freedom to choose a leader in a country is part of a democratic act, why then can't the world accept the choice of Nigerians of the military rule that they want and support? So what do you think? Does the ECOWAS military have any mandate to intervene in Niger, or the spineless African leaders are just allowing some foreigners to use them as pawns again? History repeating itself? Anyway, kindly leave your comments in the comment section below, and thanks for tuning in. I will be back with the next broadcast. Good day.